आनंदरूप चिदाभास आधारम् प्रत्यगात्म पवित्रम् प्रत्यगात्म पवित्रम् प्रत्यगात्म पवित्रम् सर्वविद्या स्वरूपाय लक्ष्मी संश्लिष्ट वक्षसे मधुपासन लक्ष्याय हयग्रीवाय मङ्गलम् शङ्खचक्र महामुद्रा पुस्तकाढ्यं चतुर्भुजम् सम्पूर्णचन्द्रसङ्काशम् हयग्रीवमुपास्महे ज्ञानानन्दमयं रामम् निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं तत्त्वविद्यानाम् हयग्रीवायितं नुमः हयग्रीवायितं नुमः शङ्कराचार्य नवावतारम् विश्वेश्वरम् विश्वगुरुं प्रणम्य वेदान्तशास्त्र श्रवणालसानां बोधाय कुर्वे किमपि प्रबन्धम् बोधाय कुर्वे किमपि प्रबन्धम् श्रीमद्हयग्रीव पदारविन्द कारुण्यमानन्द रसप्रसङ्गा मन्दाशयोद्धारण बद्धबुद्धिः सिद्धान्तबिन्दुम् विपुलीकरोमि सिद्धान्तबिन्दुम् विपुलीकरोमि In the divine presence of the God, all the suffering ceases to exist. If we want to know about the presence where there will be no kind of suffering which as human being you and I are encountering and experiencing once in a while. If we do not want to have a face-to-face encounter with the suffering or with these kinds of sufferings which we undergo, then it is said in the scriptures that there is a presence where the suffering cannot dare to appear. It will cease to exist. It cannot survive. It cannot come to appear there. And that is the presence of the God. the divine presence of the God. And if this is the statement that is made to us, then we start thinking, where should we go to gain such a presence of God? Because from our limited standpoint of perceiving the world, we always feel like going somewhere. If that is the place where we can go and there is no more suffering, then we would like to go there. So where is that place? Where is that address? So that presence of God, where the suffering ceases, is like one has returned to one's own source. One has returned to one's own source. And that source, definitely that is the source from where all this creation has manifested. Everything else has appeared. The source of all, the summum bonum of all is God, of course. That we can understand. But that is the presence now which we are trying to know, which makes all the suffering vanish. No more suffering appears. So, it is like going back to one's own source, returning to one's own source, which is not different from one's own self. This is the crux point, which is not different from one's own self. One's own self, where we can contact one's own self, which is again not different from the Supreme Divinity, the Divine Presence where the suffering ceases to exist. And that is the source. And one's own source is not different from one's own self. It is like getting back to one's own source, and which is not different from one's own self. If it is not different from one's own self, then what has happened? It had been forgotten. It is like awakening from a dream. One has awakened from a dream and dream no more exists. Because a dream no more exists, one is with oneself. In the waking world, from the standpoint of the waking world, when the waker gets into dream and then he forgets that he is a waker and then thinks somebody else and something else is happening to him. And then when he wakes up, he is back to oneself. Come back to that source from that limited standpoint. Similarly, coming back to oneself is like returning to the source. And that is like one had forgotten about it and now one is aware of it. One is awakened from the dream. So the important point here is, we always want to get rid of suffering. We want to get out of suffering. Suffering is always there without our asking. In various forms it's manifest. In various ways, number of causes are there which will contribute to our suffering. Various ways. We ourselves also contribute, that's a different story. So we want that freedom. We want to get out of it. And it is so beautifully said, we have that beautiful presence inside us as ourself, as our inner self from the standpoint of body, mind, intellect. Body, mind and senses, inside, deep inside. The inner self, the innermost self. Once we get into the presence of God by deeply entering into our inner self, because that inner self and the presence of God are not different, then in that presence all fears are revealed to be groundless. Their fears cannot survive anymore. All worries are revealed to be foolish imaginings. Away from the inner self, outside it, where we have body, mind, senses and all, involved in the body, mind and senses and sense organs and pursuits and all, we have suffering, we have worries, we have fears. Who says that he or she doesn't have fears, worries and suffering? We have it. That is how we undergo. That is what our experiences tell us. But at the same time, if we we want to get out of these things? Where can we go? Where we have to go? It is not a greater distance that has to be covered. It is our own self. It is within us, the inner self. And if we experience the presence of divinity there, in the innermost core of ourself, the Pratyak Atman, the innermost self, all fears are revealed to be groundless, all worries appear to be foolish imaginings. There is no future to fear, there is no past to regret in the innermost self. There is no future to fear. Generally, we have a fear about the future. What will happen to me tomorrow? What will happen to me next year? What will happen to me? What will happen to my relationships? What will happen to my comfortability, continuousness? What will happen to my people who are trusting me now, tomorrow they may not? What will happen to the no confidence motion? Whatever it is, what will happen? Inside of it there is motion, emotion, commotion. So, these fears are there, what will happen? There is no fear of the future, there is no regret of the past. And so much of time we spend in the outer living of our own survival, that we have to correct this person, we have to change that person, we have to bring about change in this, change in that, correct this, correct that, improve this, improve that. But in the innermost core of ourselves, there is no errant ego to admonish or to correct. There is no one to be corrected. There is no need to correct anyone. When we reach that divine presence, we are out of all these foolish imaginings. There is nobody to correct. We need not correct anybody anymore. No errant ego to correct or admonish. Nothing needs to be changed. Otherwise, we have so much worry. We have to change so many things. We are bent upon changing everything except ourselves. We want to bring about the change in everybody, in everything. That is the biggest worry for us. How to change people, how to change the superiors, how to change the subordinates, how to change the friends, how to change the relatives, how to change their mannerism, how to change their approach, how to change the world. Of course, if possible, how to change the government. How to change the borders. How to change? There is nothing that needs to be changed once we get into that Pratyekatma sthiti, where we experience the divine presence of the God. Where is anything needs to be changed? Don't change. It is a changeless state where our mind doesn't get into any influence of change. So nothing needs to be changed. And nothing needs to be improved. There is no need for improving anything, because we experience the divinity and divinity alone is. There is nothing about which we have to feel ashamed or guilty. There are so many things, guilts in our mind. Nothing about which we have to be ashamed or guilty. That is the divine presence. Such a beautiful divine presence. Where is that? Our own self. Inner self. The core of us, which we have been avoiding successfully since birth. We carry that. The place where there is no suffering, the place where there is no need for any improvement, change, any admonishing, any correction, any fear, any worry, any anxiety, any regret, any guilt, any shame. What a beautiful, pure, divine space we carry within us, which is our own. We did not borrow, we did not beg, we did not ask anybody's permission. It is our own. Not even our बाप का माल, अपना ही है. बाप का बोले तो पूछना पड़ेगा. It's our own. But we are carrying that. And when we contact God there, when we experience the presence of God there, except God, there is nothing else. That is why this beautiful statement is made. There is no other from which one can be separated. Otherwise, separation is a big thing in this world. Another worry. I do not know when I will get separated. Anyway, you and I will definitely get separated from you. If this is accepted, other things are natural. Our worry is how this will get separated from others. Anyway, I will get separated. So that worry is there. So here, in this experience of divinity, there is no other from which or from whom I need to get separated. There is no other from which one can be separated. So, no loss is possible. What a state. No loss is possible. Oh, that means can I invest in anything and then there is no loss? There is nothing to invest. No need to invest. Okay, another way from the worldly angle, yes, you can invest anything, no loss. That is my sign. Very good, then I get. No loss can be ever possible. And another beautiful thing which everybody will like is nothing needs to be done. कुछ भी करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. फिर क्या करना? खाओ पियो सो जाओ. कुछ भी करने की जरूरत नहीं है. पूछने वाला भी नहीं है कोई करने करो बोल के. There is nothing that needs to be done. No effort is required. Because we have reached the end portion, or we have reached the destination of all efforts. And one is free from endless tug of desire and want. Freedom from desire, freedom from want, freedom from effort, freedom from loss, and freedom from the other. What a state, what a divine state is there within us. But what is happening to us? We have forgotten. We have forgotten about such a divine treasure, and then we go outside into the world seeking happiness from here, pleasure from there, and a little bit of ego satisfaction from somewhere, recognition here, appreciation there, clapping here, slapping there. All these things. But we are carrying it. Such a beautiful thing. And what is this so-called realization? The realization of allness is nothing but realization of one's own self. It is an awareness of a condition that has always been present. It had always been there. But we were not conscious of it. What is that awareness? How is that connected with that inner self? And how that inner self is not different from the Supreme Self? And if that Supreme Self, is there anything beyond that? And what is that? And how that which is beyond has become Paramatma, and Paramatma has become something else, and something else became Pratyekatma, and Pratyekatma has become Jiva. And Jiva, what is all this about? Today we are going to see all this. Starting from Nirguna Parabrahma Tattva, pure consciousness, and then Saguna Brahma, then Ishvara, Pratyekatma, Jiva, and this Jiva is Chidabhasa. All that we will try to see today. In that state, when we get into our own inner self, the sense of sequential experiencing disappears. There are no more sequential experiencing moments. It is one continuous ananda. There will be no more desire to anticipate or to control anybody. We need not control anybody. No expectation will be there, no regret will be there, and no anticipation and no control. Existence as existence is total and complete, all fullness. Existence as existence is total and complete. When there is no desire, no fear, no anger, no worry, no anxiety, no improvement, no need, no effort, nothing needs to be done, nothingness. All full, nothingness. All one's needs said, no more needs remain unfulfilled. No more desires remain unfulfilled. Everything is fulfilled. It is the pinnacle of fulfillment. There is nothing to gain and nothing to lose. And everything is of equal value. When we reach there, when we reach our own inner self and experience the divine presence of the God, everything is of equal value. There is neither gain nor loss. What a beautiful thing. But such a beautiful presence, divine presence, you are forever. A group of drunkards, after their partying at the midnight, group of drunkards went and knocked at the door of Mrs. Shaw. And Mrs. Shaw came and opened the door and saw the group of drunkards. And one of the drunkard, number one, stepped forward and said, "Are you Mrs. Shaw?" She said, "Yes, I am." Then he went back. Then drunkard number two stepped forward and said, "Are you sure that you are Mrs. Shaw?" "Yes, I am sure about it." Firmly she gave the answer. And then drunkard number three stepped forward and said, "Please pick out Mr. Shaw from us." Others want to go home. They have drunk to such an extent that neither Mr. Shaw can recognize who is Mr. Shaw, nor others can recognize who is Mr. Shaw. But somehow they remember the house of Mrs. Shaw. Mr. Shaw. Please pick out Mr. Shaw from us amongst us. Others want to go. Maybe they go to other house and do the same thing. They are drunk. I can't say anything. They are drunk. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they are doing. They need somebody to pick out themselves. They are in such a state of intoxication. We are also in such a state of ignorance and superimposition. That is why reaching the divine presence in our own self, which is not different from the human self, is like a forgotten thing, awakening from a dream. That's all it is. That's all the scriptures have said about it. But once they come out of that spell of intoxication, then Mr. Shaw need not be kicked out. But Yarjuna, you are also there. That is why we need to know some more viewpoints, some more pointers by the help of which we can come closer to the divine presence, which is not different from our own inner self. Brahman, the pure Brahman, the pure consciousness, Paramarthika Dasha, the highest state, the supreme state. Brahman in the highest supreme state is called as pure Brahman. And the pure Brahman, Shuddha Swarupa, is the Swarupa Lakshana of Brahman. From our understanding, we can say that. Before creation, this is the state of Brahman. Pure Brahman. Highest, the supreme state. Nothing has happened. No creation has happened. Pure state. supreme state of pure Brahmic consciousness. Brahman alone, Ekam Eva Advitiyam Brahma. Non-dual pure Brahmic consciousness alone remained in its own pristine, glorious state. Then there afterwards, in the beginning stages of this Srishti Leela, in the creation process, Maya manifests out of Brahman. It is its own power, its own Shakti. Maya manifests the inexplicable power of Brahman. And when the Maya manifests, then that Brahman is called as Maya Savala Brahman. Brahman along with Maya. Brahman with Maya. And he is also called as Maya Upahita Brahman or Saguna Brahman or Drik plus Maya. So for our convenience, we will call Saguna Brahman. And this Saguna Brahman happened only for the purpose of creation. Maya is on his own power. The supreme, pure, highest state of consciousness, that which is Brahman, his own power is Maya. And once Maya came out, manifested, Brahman and Maya are there, that is Saguna Brahman. It is like, from a worldly standpoint or viewpoint, an actor taking up the role of Sri Rama, maybe in Sri Rama Raja, Sri Rama, and then living the role in such a way that the viewers forget about his original identity as an actor and then gets identified with him as Rama. Such a marvelous exhibition of acting talents. There are some actors like that, where their personal identity is forgotten, the role identity alone is identified with. After that movie shooting is done, what will happen to that role? Will he carry that role wherever he goes afterwards? I am sure. People will chase him away. The movie they will accept. But outside it comes. So the role gets removed from this actor. The role gets removed. Or he can say the role merges into the actor. Where can it go? He only has become Rama. Now he is no more becoming Rama. Original actor. Or it gets removed. Similarly, when the entire creation which started from Saguna Brahma has been withdrawn, because that is the supreme pralaya, not ordinary pralaya of Brahmadeva, but a supreme pralaya, one was created Brahma, that also, Saguna Brahma also is withdrawing from it. Then what will happen to Saguna Brahma? Gets removed from pure consciousness because the role is done. खेल खत्म, मूवी हो गया, और merges into supreme Brahman because there is nothing else where it can go. If there is any second, it can go there and then create an opposition party against Brahman. There is no second. What can you do? It is one homogeneous consciousness, one alone, nothing else. So this is how Saguna Brahman came out of pure, supreme Brahmic consciousness. And this Saguna Brahman alone can be worshipped through Upasana. For our Upasana, we need Saguna Brahman. Not everybody can do Upasana of attributeless Brahman. Only rarest few can be there. 1 in 10 million, probably. So for rest all, for doing some upasana to uplift their mind, make them pure, elevate their level of consciousness, advance their level of progression, naturally we need something to hold on to, that is Saguna Brahma. And this Saguna Brahma is called as Paramatma. Paramatma and beyond that Parabrahma. Please remember that. So this Saguna Brahma is called as Paramatma. And this Paramatma is the support and substratum for the whole world. If somebody has to draw a picture, paper is the substratum. And nowadays computer is there and anybody can become an artist. Gone are the days of original artists, where only the creative talent will come out. In that calm state of mind, the creative expression comes out and beauty comes out. And for somebody to paint or draw a picture of painting, canvas is the substratum or support. For picture, paper is the support. For painting, canvas is the support. Or sometimes wall, people draw on walls, wall is the support. And for the world, Kabir Das feels this whole world is 5-color painting, Panchabhuta painting. Pachanandir Khel, he thinks. So like that, for this world, 5-color painting, Saguna Brahma is the substratum. Saguna Brahma is the support. And this Saguna Brahman is the Sakshi Chaitanya of Ishvara. Saguna Brahman reflected in its own Maya is Ishvara. This Saguna Brahman is the Sakshi Chaitanya of Ishvara. And this Ishvara alone takes care of the totality of the world. And for Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, when they are manifested, when Rama, Krishna, when they are manifested, or when Ishvara also manifests as Trimurti, so on and so forth, for all of them, the Sakshi Chaitanya is Saguna Brahman. The witnessing consciousness is Saguna Brahma. Out of Saguna Brahma, all these things manifest. So, the reflection of Brahman in Maya is Ishvara, and the one who is qualified by Maya is Ishvara. That Ishvara as Maya has his own Upadhi. That Ishvara is the Samashti Rupa, the total form, and he manages Jagat, and the Ishvara is Nitya Mukta, ever liberated. And at the individual level, Vyashti level, the body is there in the body. In the body, the consciousness that pervades. In the totality, the consciousness that pervades is Ishvara. In the individual body, the consciousness that pervades is Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma. And this Pratyagatma, in its essence, is not different from Paramatma. Only because of the outer covering called as body, the limiting adjunct called as body, with that referential standpoint called as body, is Pratyagatma. Who pervades inside the body, he is called as Pratyagatma. But otherwise, it is not different from Paramatma. He is pervading in the body, and he pervades the Antakarana. He pervades the mind, he pervades the intellect, he pervades the ego, he pervades the chitta. to make it more easy. Paramatma is Mahakasha, the total space. Ishvara is Madhakasha, the big hall space. And Pratyagatma is Ghatakasha, the pot space. Pot space, big hall space, and total space. Paramatma, Ishvara, Pratyagatma. Only from outer standpoint they are different. Space in the pot is equal to space in the hall is equal to space in the totality. Space-wise there is no difference. Same space, one space in three different appearances. Total space, Paramatma. Hall space, Ishvara. Pot space, Pratyagatma. Pot is body, inside the body who pervades? Pot space, Pratyagatma. So this Pratyagatma is the witness, is the Sakshi of Chidabhasa. Who is this Chidabhasa? Reflection of Pratyagatma in Antakarana. The Pratyagatma who is the pervading consciousness in the body, who pervades the internal organ, Antakarana. The reflection of Pratyagatma in the Antakarana is Chidabhasa. Chitta, Abhasa. The reflection of the consciousness. So he is the witness of Antakarana. But this Pratyagatma is like anvil of a goldsmith who keeps the gold on that and then keeps on changing. Yeah. Kutastha. It will never change. Pratyagatma will never change. Everything else changes. Pratyagatma does not change. Unchanging inner self is Pratyagatma. He is the substratum and support at the individual level. At the totality level support is Ishvara, at the individual level support is this Pratyagatma. And the Jiva and the stages of Jiva are all Kalpita, arranged, fashioned, formed, imagined, fabricated in Pratyagatma. Jiva and the stages of Jiva are all fashioned, made, fabricated, imagined in Pratyagatma. When the Pratyagatma gets reflected in the Antakarana, it is Chidabhasa. This Chidabhasa has the Avarana of Avidya. Avrita of Avidya. He is Avidya Avrita, covered by Avidya. Because he is covered by Avidya, he is dependent. This Chidabhasa is dependent. The Chidabhasa becomes Karta, Bhokta, doer, enjoyer, and knower, knowing so many things. And this fellow is called as Jiva. The reflection in the internal organ of Antakarana is Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa is a bimba for Chidabhasa. The original source of reflection for Chidabhasa is Pratyagatma. Whatever changes happen to Antakarana influence Chidabhasa, but not Pratyagatma. I am not happy, I am suffering, I am sad, I am disturbed, I am wicked, I am hurt, I am bothered, I am annoyed, I am disturbed, I am restless, I am agitated, I am stressed. All this is the Jiva, who is Chidabhasa. When the waters in the pond change, the reflection changes. When the Antakarana changes, the reflection in Antakarana changes. Because Chidabhasa or Jiva is identified with all these things. But at the same time, it is a reflection of Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma is changeless. He is the witness of all. We have to choose whom we want to be, Jiva or Pratyagatma. third sloka from the Vedanta Nishchaya, which says something about Pratyagatma. So for this Pratyagatma, the Antahkarana is avachedakam, distinguishing particularization or a characteristic property. Antahkarana is a characteristic property or distinguishing particularization for Pratyagatma, avachedakam. Meaning what? Pratyagatma gets reflected in Antahkarana. Like sun getting reflected in a mirror. Mirror is avachedaka for sun. Mirror, sun gets reflected in mirror. So similarly, the Pratyagatma gets reflected in internal organ or Antahkarana. And the jnana in the body is called as Pratyagatma that pervades the inert machine inside called as internal organ. The internal organ or Antahkarana is like a machine because it has got four components, 4 in 1, Buddhi, Manas, Chitta, Ahankara, but it will not function by itself like any other electronic gadget. It needs the input of electricity. So only the touch of Pratyagatma can make it active. So that is how this internal organ, which is called as inert machine, Pratyagatma pervades the internal organ. Due to this Maya, this internal organ and Ahankara, Mamakara undergo modification. The internal organ, Ahankara, Mamakara, there are so many Vikaras, so many things happen in this internal organ. Ahankara is there, Mamakara is there, Vikaras are there, modifications are there, so many things. Just as there are colors in the mirror. In mirror, you can see colors. If there are colors in front of the mirror, you can see colors in the mirror. Similarly, there is Ahankara, there is Mamakara, there is modification. So many things are there in the Antahkarana. The Antahkarana gets activated only because of the touch of Pratyagatma. It becomes conscious because of the touch of Pratyagatma. Like current activating the computer. Computer is inert, even though it has got so many programs in it. It gets activated only by the touch of the electricity. The Antahkarana gets the bhava, aham, I am, only because of the reflection of Pratyagatma in the Antahkarana. This reflection of Pratyagatma in Antahkarana is called as Chidabhasa, it is also called as Jiva. This is the Jiva who tries to seek experiences through Indriyas and reaches out to sense objects and undergoes happiness and misery, Sukha, Dukkha, all these things are there for this Jiva only. Husband and wife are walking together. And suddenly a beautiful woman came across them. She was passing by. Husband started staring at that beautiful woman. The wife remarked, whenever a married man comes across a beautiful woman, he forgets that he is married and not a bachelor. He forgets that he is not married. He forgets that he is married and not a bachelor. And the husband looks at the wife and says, no. Whenever a married man comes across a beautiful woman, he repents that he is married and not a bachelor. Whatever it is, this Jiva is always engrossed in sense organs and pursuit of sense objects. So whenever the sense objects which are attractive are there, automatically Jiva gets drifted towards them. That is how the nature of Jiva is. That's why it's got happiness also, and because the world doesn't provide only happiness, misery also. But happiness and misery is undergone by Jiva, who is a reflection of Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma has no question of undergoing misery, happiness, nothing. He is such, he is the witnessing consciousness. He simply purely witnesses. That is all he does. He doesn't undergo anything. And this Jiva Jiva is the one who transmigrates. This Jiva is the one who goes along with the mind, intellect, memory, ego, and samskaras and vasanas and all that. But the Pratyagatma remains where he is. Ahankara Satra Karta Bhokta Jiva Smruto Budhaihi Bhokta Jiva Smruto Budhaihi Mamakaro Mano Buddhihi Chittam Chetyuchyate Vedanta Nishchaya of Ramaraya Kavi, fourth sloka, gives out this beautiful sloka, beautiful explanation. Antakarana is pervaded by Pratyagatma. That we have understood now. Who pervades Antakarana? It is Pratyagatma, the inner self. In Antakarana, one portion is called as Ahankara, ego. Another portion is Manas. Third portion, Buddhi. Fourth portion, Chitta. All these are there. Chitta is called as memory or called as storehouse or godown of all impressions. Mind, intellect, ego, we know. We have been reflecting upon this many times. So this one portion which is called as Ahankara, and this Ahankara portion alone, specifically according to Ramaraya Kavi in Vedanta Nishchaya, is called as Jiva, who is Karta and Bhokta, doer and enjoyer. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the sufferer, I am the happy person, all this is I. I am the performer, I am the achiever, all that. So this I, this Ahankara. And Ramaraya Kavi further says, the Mamakara portion, the minus portion is called the mind. Ahankara portion is ego, is called as Jiva, is called as Karta, is called as Bhokta, doer, enjoyer. The agent. Mamakara portion is called as mind, and this alone is called as intellect, and this alone is called as Chitta. Easily, Ramaraya Kavi has divided everything. Mamakara portion is called as Manas, Buddhi, Chitta. Ahankara portion is called as ego, the Jiva. And when the Pratyagatma is in Antakarana, he is the witness of Jiva. He is the witness of Jiva. Whatever Jiva is undergoing, whatever Jiva does, who witnesses? Pratyagatma. Who is this Pratyagatma? Not different from Paramatma. Who is this? This is Supreme Divinity. Where is it? Inside. From which standpoint? From the standpoint of body, mind, intellect, memory, ego is inside. How far he is from us? Is he far? No. He is ourself only. But still we have to go and reach him. That is why great masters have said this is a journey without a distance. There is journey, but there is no distance. But still we have to make the journey. The same Pratyagatma, when he is working with Antakarana, he is called as Jiva, because he is reflection only. Pratyagatma reflection only is Jiva. So he is also called as Chidavasa, from a different standpoint. So, just as the light which is lit, the lamp which is lit, sheds the light, and attached to the light there is some splendor, there is some effulgence, there is some brightness, there is some lustre. Splendor, effulgence, brightness, lustre are there with the light. Light. Thick light is there. And then thin splendor, effulgence, lustre, brightness are also there. Just as this light and splendor and effulgence and lustre spreads into the room, into the house, it is, and the lamp is lit. The Jnana Swarupa Pratyagatma in the form of Jnanam pervades the whole body. The light, the splendor, luster, brilliance, brightness spreads around the room. Like that, the Jnanam from the Pratyagatma spreads into the body. Only because of which the cell also has intelligence. It is Pratyagatma's Jnana, intelligence. It is not anybody's. So then, the Kanti, brightness, luster. This brightness or luster is not different from the thick light. Both are one. But thick light near the lamp is very glowing. But this luster and effulgence, they are little away from it, spread around. But both are one. So that Jnana which spreads around is only Pratyagatmas. Paramatma is in us, that Jnana Swarupa means this only. He is that intelligence. Even in body also there is intelligence. That is why a doctor only gives medicine to eradicate the disease. But recovering all body does automatically. But there is intelligence in it. It knows how to set itself right. Then, it is also said here by Ramaraya Kavi that Pratyagatma is like a pot space. Very beautiful. Yesterday somebody asked me the question, this is the answer. That is why I asked the person to read. Pratyagatma is like pot space. Pot is there, pot space is there. Pratyagatma is like pot space. When the pot is broken, what will happen to space? Space will get merged in the total space there. It need not go anywhere. Do you think Pratyagatma will travel somewhere? What space will travel? No need. It is there only. But what goes out of the body after death? The Chidamasa. The reflection of Pratyagatma. The Jiva, who is the reflection of Pratyagatma. The reflection is there in the internal organ, in the Antakarana. Identified with Antakarana, identified, I am the Jiva, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I have done so much, I have to enjoy so much, so many desires are yet to be fulfilled, already I have achieved so much. So, vasanas are for this Jiva, samskaras are for this Jiva, karmas are for this Jiva, punya is for this Jiva, papa is for this Jiva. So, this fellow goes out of the body along with the mind, intellect, memory, ego, carrying along with it the impressions, the tendencies, the samskaras, the vasana. This is very good. This is what you and I depart from the body after we भगवान को प्यारे हो गए. That is why people don't want to go to Bhagavan. प्यारे हो गए. भगवान को अत्यंत प्यारे जब बन गए तो भगवान के साथ ही रहे. There is no need to do. So, if at all we are any doubt, what is this jiva which goes out? This is what is the reflection which goes out. Suppose, Ramaraya Kavi gives this also. Suppose if somebody says, Antakarana has no form, intellect has no form, Pratyagatma has no form, then how can Pratyagatma get reflected in the Antakarana? That is the greatness of our great master. They only provide objection. They only provide the Purva Pakshi, doubt, and they will only clarify so that the stupid mind can have no more doubts. Suppose somebody with some intelligence, hey, Pratyagatma no form, hey, mind no form, intellect no form. How can no form get reflected in no form? But of course, the esoteric philosophy, it says every thought has a form and subtle body has a form. All that is a different story. But here they are proceeding to a Vedantic logic. Then, Beautiful explanation comes out. Further, we have to understand the meaning of one word. Prasarana, prasarinchuta, prasarana. Meaning what? To move freely, to flow, to spread, to extend. To flow, to spread, to extend is the meaning of word prasarana. The power of Pratyagatma flows into, spreads into, extends into Antakarana. How? Based on this objection, you have to answer. He is answering is that. Like a magnet has power, the power of the magnet moves the needle. Is it right? Magnet has a power. The power of magnet moves the needle. Power has form? No form. Can't it move the needle? It moves. Take a magnet, it moves. Magnet has power. The power moves the needle. How? By entering into the needle. That is why if you keep that very close to the magnet, after you take out that needle, it attracts other things also. After some time, because it has got its power inside it, it is moving. When the needle moves, will the magnet move? No. The power of the magnet moves. Pratyagatma is like the magnet. Antakarana is like the needle. Chidabhasa is like, Jiva is like the power of the magnet. When needle moves because of the power of the magnet, but needle moves along with its power which is inside it. Antakarana is moved by Jiva, Chidabhasa, enlivened by Chidabhasa, brought to life by Chidabhasa. That Jiva. That is the power of Pratyagatma. This is the fellow who goes to Naraka, goes to Swarga, goes from body to body, Janma to Janma. Pratyagatma never goes anywhere. The Pratyagatma is Paramatma. He is there only, like pot space. When the pot is broken, he merges into the space there only. He is there only. Merger also we need not say. He is there. When a body is dead, Paramatma is there only. That is why our culture said Shiva is responsible for dissolution. That is why he can happily roam around in Smashana also. Because that also, how can he reject anything as not God? Creation also, sustenance also, dissolution also. Everything is zero. So Pratyagatma does not go anywhere. The power of Pratyagatma, called as Jiva, like the magnetic power moves the needle inside the needle, it moves. That is called as Jiva. What a beautiful explanation here, Ramaya. It's a new woman. Computer moves in itself. Because in itself so many movements are there in computer. But it cannot move unless and until it is connected to the current. The existing current inside the house does not move with the computer movement. Does it move with the computer movement inside? Similarly, Chidabhasa, is the power of Pratyagatma, moves inside the Antakarana along with the thoughts, along with the vrittis, along with ideas, along with vasanas, along with the tendencies, along with all of them. How much ever the power of magnet moves the needle, if anything affects the needle, and will anything really affect the magnet? Is magnet in any way connected with the needle? If needle is burned hot or placed in ice cold temperature, will magnet get affected? Nothing. The Pratyagatma inside will never get affected by any changes that happen to the Jiva or any changes that happen inside the mind. Even though it is pervading the mind, even though it is illuminating the mind, even though it is enlivening the mind, even though it is empowering the mind, energizing the mind. That is why, as long as we think I am a Jiva, I suffer. I go up and down. I take birth and death. I have honor and dishonor. I have profit and loss. I have happiness and misery. I have joy and sorrow. I have success and failure. I have all these things. But the moment I know that I am only a reflection of Pratyagatma, Originally, this reflection is a reflection. What is my original form? What is my original source? Pratyagatma. The moment the reflection thinks, I am not the Jiva, I am Pratyagatma. Finished. All the vasanas, all the samskaras, all the purva, papa, karma, everything will vanish in one stroke. That is what is realization. That is what is moksha. And that will never happen without the grace of Pratyeka, without the grace of Paramatma. Pratyagatma is the witness of all the things that happen inside the mind. He illumines everything, including mind, sense organs, the knowledge that happens inside, the happiness, the experiences, everything. That is why when Jiva is under the spell of ignorance in deep sleep, mind is silent, the Jiva is silent, the sense organs are silent, body is silent. But who knows that there is happiness in deep sleep? Pratyagatma. Because the power of Pratyagatma is Jiva. When he wakes up, it is the Pratyagatma which makes Jiva know that he is left happily. That is why Pratyagatma is present there as the experiencer of that happiness in the deep sleep when Jiva is no more there. Meaning, under the spell of ignorance, I don't know, is the level of Jiva. I don't know. But who knows? This I don't know fellow also is saying I don't know. Pratyagatma. That is our original Swarupa, our true nature. In a court, a case for divorce came up. Surprisingly, the wife filed the divorce case. And the judge asked her, because the woman requested for divorce from her husband. The judge asked her, why? Because they have to ask and try and see at that moment at least if there is any chance of combining their family. So he asked, why? Your Honor, I want to divorce my husband because he is not faithful to me. He is not faithful to me. The judge should have stopped there. He further continued. How do you know that he is not faithful to you? And she said, not one child resembles him. That is why I want divorce. You know it better. A man went to a police station and then met the inspector there, circle inspector, and then told him, I want to meet the thief who broke into my house yesterday night and then ran away with the booty, whatever property was there. But I want to meet that fellow. You want to punish or meet? I want to meet. Inspector was surprised. Why do you want to meet that fellow? I want to know from him how he can break open into my house, enter into my house without waking up my wife. I want to know that knack or technique so that I can also attend that. All that we need to know is the technique of how to become aware or conscious of Pratyagatma. Sarvabhasaka soyam. Sarvabhasaka soyam. Sarvasakshi parah puman. Sarvasakshi parah puman. in Vedanta Nishchaya, 14th sloka, he says this. This Pratyagatma illumines everything. Sarva bhasaka soyam sarva sakshi paratma, and makes known everything. He illumines everything. He makes known everything. Without his illumining principle, illumining everything, we cannot know anything. So he illumines everything. He makes known everything. Then Sarva Sakshi Paratma. He is the witness who knows everything. There is nothing that the Pratyagatma does not know. That is why there are great masters who have experienced their inner Pratyagatma, and when they know that their innermost self Pratyagatma is the same Pratyagatma in everybody, such great masters, genuine masters who are reveling in that state of oneness of Pratyagatma and not different from Paramatma, they know our thought without we telling it. Not those people who are acting like that. I am talking about the real masters. Because he is inside our mind also as Pratyagatma, same one Pratyagatma in all the people, same Pratyagatma is there. He is the Pratyagatma in us also. So before we say anything, he knows. We have seen such masters. We have come across such masters. Before we tell anything, we already know what we want to tell. The answer. Without you questioning. Because their experience is like that, they are at that level. If I become like that, can I become a CID officer? One who becomes like that doesn't want to become any CID. Because he knows his original ID, and that is CID, conscious ID. You know that why you want to become this unnecessarily? So there is no need. That is why this Pratyagatma illumines everything, makes known everything. He is witness who knows everything. Ajo nitya shashvatascha. He is sarva bhasaka soyam sarva sakshi paratma. Ajo nitya shashvatascha pratyagatma swayam prabhu. Pratyagatma swayam prabhu. He is Paramatma. Ajaha, he has no birth. Nityaha, he is eternal. Shashwataha, permanent. He is never ending. He is Ananta. He is permanent. And he is the self capable of all. Pratyagatma swayam prabhu. He is all powerful. He is of the form of knowledge. He is Paramatma alone. Only due to the measuring limited adjunct called as body, he is called as Pratyagatma. Otherwise, he is Paramatma. Only because of the pot, measuring instrument called as pot, limiting adjunct passes. Otherwise, he is total space. So, Pratyagatma is Paramatma. That is how our great scripture said God is inside us. There are some people who say God is in the form of a temple, God is in the form of a mountain, all that later on Shankaracharya tells about all those views and all, but we will come to it later on. But actually he is all pervading inside. How we know like a light of the lamp, all pervading, the power of a lamp, all pervading. That is Pratyagatma. That is what we are actually. Jayate mriyate jivaha. Atma Pratyagatma Lakshana was explained in the previous sloka. Jiva is samsari. This fellow is samsari. Jiva, not Pratyagatma. Jiva is samsari. And Linga Sharira, which is called as Linga Sharira, means the subtle frame of the body or subtle body. The subtle body of the Jiva is as per the Antahakarana. As the Antahakarana, good, bad, indifferent, polluted, pure, nice, noble thoughts, so will be the subtle body of the Jiva. And this subtle body cannot get rid of misconception, attachment or pride of the body. Cannot get rid of misconception, cannot get rid of attachment, cannot get rid of pride of the body. This Jiva is attached. This Jiva has misconception. That Jiva has pride. Pratyagatma has neither pride nor misconception or any attachment. And this is where Jiva has birth and death. Because of misconception, because of attachment, because of pride, he has got birth and death. Who has birth and death? Not Pratyagatma. This Jiva has birth and death. This Jiva has bondage of samsara. Who is bound by samsara? Jiva. Chidabhasa. Not Pratyagatma. Not the innermost self. And who are we? That is what Adi Shankara will try to tell. That is what Madhusudana Saraswati will try to tell. That is what Ramananda is trying to tell us. That is what great masters have been telling us. Thou art not Jiva. Thou art not the one who undergoes, one who transmigrates, one who takes birth, one who dies, one who suffers, one who enjoys, one who is agent, one who is doer, one who is enjoyer. You are not that. You are Pratyagatma. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not the intellect. You are not the memory. You are not the ego. You are not the doer. You are not the enjoyer. You are Pratyagatma, the witness in consciousness, the pure self. It is not different from the Parama. This is the greatest knowledge that can happen to anybody in this short span of life. This is the truth. This is the reality. If we take birth thousands of times as Jiva, and each birth has got a new episode where the serial is going on, like unending TV serial going on. What big thing we are doing? What big thing we are doing? All our gains are nothing. All our losses are trash. We have lost our connection with Pratyagatma. What are we talking about? Money lost, property lost, this lost, honor lost, this lost. What lost? The biggest treasure we have lost, we have forgotten. That is, we are pure self. Without knowing that, if we know everything in this creation, it is of no use. Because it will anyway will not give us real happiness. The only useful thing in the human birth is to know that I am Pratyagatma, which is not different from Paramatma. Not intellectually, but with the help of intellect and mind, to transcend them and to experientially know it. Where even the experience that dissolves into Brahman. This is what Ramayana says. When this Jiva goes on contemplating, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I don't have all these things, I am Pratyagatma, I am pure self, Tattvamasi, Prajna Brahma, I am Atma Brahma, Aham Brahma. Then one day, by the divine grace, he will get out of this samsara. He knows, I am not this, I am that. Then he remains at that. Thereafter, there is neither coming nor going, no more getting into bondage. Everything is witnessed and watched. Just as Sri Krishna Paramatma takes the avatar and goes on watching everything, witnessing everything in spite of all role playing. Same thing, this person also has attained that will do afterwards. All of us have to understand one thing. We started out from pure Brahman. before creation, highest supreme state of pure consciousness, then Maya, Saguna Brahma, then Ishvara, and then Jiva, then the same Paramatma is Pratyagatma, totality level, individual level. Here we have to understand. What all people say that Atma Sakshatkara is nothing but Jiva realizing that I am not Jiva, I am Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma is not different from Paramatma. That's all it is. All this happens only because of our sadhana, upasana, Shravana, Manana, Dhyana, Nididhyasana, and above all His grace. So may we invoke the grace of Bhagavan to slowly and steadily take us closer to that state where we remain in the presence of God. When we started out with that statement today, in the presence of God, all suffering vanishes. How can suffering remain? Suffering belongs to Jiva, not to Pratyagatma. When Jiva is in the presence of God, he is no more Jiva. He has become aware of that presence. He is the awareness of that consciousness. That is all. As one soul said, Om Vagishwaraya Vidmahe Ayagrivaya Dhimahi Tanno Hayagriva Prachodayat Om Akshareshwaraya Vidmahe Mantrarajaya Dhimahi Tanno Hayagriva Prachodayat Hayagriva Hayagriva Om Hamsasoham Vishwavatirna Swarupaya Chinmayananda Rupine Tubhyam Namo Hayagriva Vidyarajaya Vishnave Swaha Hamsasoham Om Shri Halaum Om Namo Bhagavate Hayagrivaya Vishnave Mahyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha Prayachha Swaha Prayachha Swaha Hayagriva Mangalam Hayagriva Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam Hayagriva Mangalam Hayagriva Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam Vidyaraja Mangalam Vidyaraja Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam हयग्रीवमङ्गलम् 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 प्रत्यगात्ममङ्गलम् प्रत्यगात्ममङ्गलम् विष्णवे मङ्गलम् विष्णवे मङ्गलम् परमात्मा मङ्गलम् परमात्मा मङ्गलम् हयग्रीवमङ्गलम् हयग्रीवमङ्गलम् हयग्रीव हयग्रीव हयग्रीवमङ्गलम् हयग्रीव हयग्रीव हयग्रीवमङ्गलम् 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 सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ